What's your kind of take on the rumours about managers at the moment? We might as well just start with Pochettino.
Yeah, we'll go straight in with Poch. Look, half of me can't wait. Half of me wishes that the rumours are true and Spurs tweet right now, we are delighted to announce Pochettino is coming back to the club. But the logical side of me is thinking that A, it's way too early. B, it would be, I think we were talking about it before. I think that if we brought Poch back now, it's almost like Daniel Levy saying, okay, we're going to push what happened in the past 12 months under the carpet and we're going to sugarcoat it and bring back a nice prize for everyone to just be distracted by and look at, and here's Poch. But I think it'd be wrong of them to do that for the sake of Poch's career and for Tottenham in the short term and the long term. And B, I just don't think we're ready as a club. And the reason I say that is, and I'm fully about to waffle here, so if I waffle too much, stop me. But the reason I say that it's too early is because if we brought Pochettino back now, we start him. Okay, we've got some better players, some worse players, but we would start him exactly where he was when we brought him in from Southampton. It would take another 4 or 5 years of a half decent rebuild if he gets back the right way. And we were on such an upward trajectory, and to have it all start again from the beginning is just the wrong thing to do. But then again, every single other part of me wants him back ASAP because he's Poch.
This is the thing. It's so difficult to try and think about it logically. Like, for me, I think, like you said, sugarcoated it if he came back. The fact that the rumours that Kane's leaving, this, that and the other. And I say it all the time. I've got the poster behind me and I've fully had enough of this board. But it would distract everyone. It'd be like, oh, look, Levy's actually done something nice for once. Let's forget everything that's happened for the last whatever, how many months it's been. And it'll be a happy dory because we've got the one we want back. Like, it's just drives me insane. It's another thing from Alan, the fact that Levy needs to spend money on players, otherwise it doesn't matter what manager we get. And I think that is kind of true. Yeah. Obviously, technically, I know Poch has only had a 1-year deal, but technically he's still kind of under contract. So that being said, he's going to have to buy him out. So yeah. I don't know, what's your kind of take on it, Formz? Are you like, I don't know how to word this, but in a sense that we need players ASAP, regardless of who the manager is. And for me, I think we've come to a standstill in the sense that we need to pick one or the other. I don't think we can have both at this moment in time, in a sense that we can't have Pochettino back and get half-decent players because we just don't have the funds. Yeah.
I think it's difficult because there's two angles from that. It's one, we will have the funds once we sell all the deadwood that we need to get rid of. Mm-hmm. And I think that if we have a big summer, it needs to involve, as much as it needs to involve some class centre-backs, right-back, strikers, whatever you want to call them, as much as it involves players coming in, it has to involve players going out. I know, obviously, they announced today that Rose and Gazaniga are gone. Their contracts ran out and they've been released, and a couple of the youngsters as well. But we need to be selling the likes of Sissoko, your favourite player, Winks. I think we've got, like, Lamella, thank you very much for your service, but it's time to go. There's so many players that we can cash in for whilst they're still young and they've still got time on their contract. And Levy's perfect at that. He's perfect at getting more money than he should for bang average players. And if he can do that with 5 or 6 players, then yes, we have the funds for 2 or 3 great players and potentially Pochettino back as well. And that is my take on how the summer needs to be and the balance in terms of players. But look, if you think about it, regardless of the manager coming in, we're rebuilding anyway. We're rebuilding anyway. They're basing their manager criteria off of Pochettino. So obviously Poch is going to be the best option to come in to play the youth, to bring the energy back into the dressing room, to bring that attacking football back into Tottenham and the way that we play. But if it's not Poch, whoever it is still going to have to start from scratch. He's still going to have to try and bring in some middle-class players and make them play better and bring the youth through and all of that kind of stuff. So it's all no matter the angle you look at it, it all comes back round on itself.
I know. It's just an endless circle, and it's a thing like you spoke about. We've just we didn't invest at the right time, and we just kept riding our luck. And now we've come to a point where it's going to be harder to get a manager in that's going to be able to do wonders. Like you said, we've gone back years. We have. That's the sad thing. I mean, there's a question here from I call him Cullen, but it's Carl. The fact that, would you rather have Poch for a rebuild, or would you have Conte for instant trophy, so to speak, Formz?
Look, I think Conte is a fantastic manager. The fact that, I mean, you look at his record, he's come in and he's either won a trophy in his first or his second season. He's won a league title in his first or his second season everywhere he's gone recently, with Inter, with Chelsea, with whoever. But we ruined one of the greatest managers in football history's record. We ruined it. So it's not a case of it's all very well saying, oh, Poch for a rebuild or Conte for instant trophies. We brought Jose in for instant trophies. Look at what happened. And there's an argument, okay, you don't sack him 6 days before final, but we did. That's the reality. So it's going to be a rebuild, and I think to make it as less painful, as painless as possible, then I think Poch is probably the right guy for it. But he's of a certain profile now. He's got a couple of trophies to his name. He's managed one of the biggest clubs in Europe in PSG. He's a wanted name. So he loves the club, but would he want to come back? Would he want to take that project on? Or would he want someone like a Ten Hag to come in and do it? And then in 2-3 years' time say, all right, thank you very much. You've brought us to a level. Let me take over and get us there. Yeah,
that's the thing. I mean, obviously we spoke about Poch and things, but the fact is the players stopped playing for Poch at the end of the day. And like I said, it's just too soon, I think. I mean, Kev said here that he'd rather have Ten Hag, which you've kind of pointed out. Like we all keep saying, we'd love him to come back. It's just too soon. I think Ten Hag would have a fresh mind. I mean, he's managed to do fresh things at Ajax. So that being said, I mean, we spoke the other day on the podcast with Tanya and Abby, and they seem to think that this Ali Gold rumour that came out a couple of days ago is kind of heading towards Ten Hag. I know, obviously, there's an extension in contract or something or whatever, but maybe that was kind of just a smoke screen in order for Levy to do his business behind. So that being said, do you think Ten Hag could possibly still be on the table, and would you want him?
I think he's on the table without a doubt, because Ali Gold tweeted today that Graham Potter is not an option anymore. And apparently he was never an option. Maybe I think Spurs inquired about him, and then that was it. Like, it was just an inquiry. So if you look at all of the options and the managers that we were linked with, I mean, Nuno straight away as soon as he left Wolves, he wasn't coming to Spurs. Conte is probably going to go to Madrid. Graham Potter's now been sacked off as an option, and then you've got Poch and Ten Hag. And I watched Ali Gold put out an hour-long video, as he usually does on YouTube, just talking about the situation. And he was talking about a few things. He said that our top contender is still in a job. Our second ideal contender is also still in a job. But both of the managers that we are looking at are going to need huge financial backing. They're going to need to be guaranteed huge financial backing in order to lure them into the club, as well as demand a huge paycheck for the manager themselves at the end of the day. I think that Ten Hag, what he has done at Ajax is incredible. Obviously, the season that we knocked them out the Champions League, they were the underdogs. They were so fresh and exciting because of the youngsters and the youth and the academy players that they brought through. We've got some talented youngsters that, given the right opportunity, can definitely shine. The right opportunity under the right manager can definitely shine. So if it's Ten Hag, I'm not disappointed at all.
No, I don't think I will be either. Obviously, when Graham Potter was floating around, I was like, I'd rather have Harry Potter, to be honest with you. I just wasn't feeling that vibe. Chris with the great surname has said, what about Kingsman throwing his hat into the ring? See, at the moment, I think everybody's just having a go. I think Bob round the corner would like to have a go as well. So with that being said, do you think reporters are kind of jumping on the bandwagon? Like, especially...
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. I think that it's such a big thing at the moment, because in the past 5-6 years, Tottenham have built themselves up to be to be a name that is thrown around when you talk about big European clubs. I think we're like the 9th most valuable club in Europe. So it's definitely a big topic when a club like Spurs are looking for a manager, and certain journalists will just throw names out just to get clicks and stuff like that. In all honesty, the only 3 sources that I trust at all are Ali Gold, Sky Sports, and Tottenham themselves. That's it. So I think that any other names other than Poch and Ten Hag and potentially Conte, I probably won't believe it. I'm also set in it's going to be one of those 3. So if it's not one of those 3 and it's someone that is just so disappointing, then I'm going to be gutted.
So am I. That's the thing. I mean, at the moment, I think all Spurs fans are going crazy at the fact that these Poch rumours could have some truth in them. I don't want to get too ahead of myself because, like we said, I still think it's too soon, 100%. Like you said, I think a couple of years need to pass for it all to be settled. And I also don't think Levy with his ego is going to be like, oh, okay, maybe I made a mistake. I just don't think he's the type of man to do that.
He came out and said for the first time, literally like on record for the first time in his career, Daniel Levy said that he has admitted to friends that sacking Pochettino was the biggest mistake he's ever made.
Oh, wow, okay.
So I don't know whether that was in the Ali Gold thing or I've just seen it everywhere, but he's come out and said that sacking Poch was a huge mistake. So I think that, look, say what you want about the man, he loves the club. He loves Tottenham. He's a businessman at the end of the day, so he's going to do what he wants to make some money. He loves Tottenham. Whether Enoch loved Tottenham, I don't know. Daniel Levy loves Tottenham. So if bringing Pochettino back is genuinely the best thing for the club, then he'll do it.
Yeah, I hope you're right, Formz. I think, I don't know, my hatred towards the man is slowly getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
I want to sit here and say that he loves Tottenham, but when you sell the club off to European Super League, I'm kind of questioning his love because none of us would ever dream of doing that personally. And I know you're probably going to say, yeah, but if any other club was in that position, they'd probably take it. And you're probably right. They probably would. The fact that Tottenham were even in that question to join the Super League is another thing. But I don't know. For Tottenham, there was definitely going to be in a few years that club was going to turn into a franchise. It wouldn't be Tottenham Hotspur anymore. 100%
without a doubt, especially with American owners, without a doubt, because I think 4 of the top of the big 6 in England are owned by American owners. 100%. If the Super League happened, then football would fully be franchised, and I think everyone who wasn't in the Super League would literally turn into Sunday League level. Which would have ruined it. But look, we can talk about the Super League all we want. But yeah, I get the point. I get the point you're making. I'm just hopeful. I've always been an optimistic Spurs fan. Even in games where we're like 3-0 down at half time, I'm like, all right, we can do it. But I'm hoping that this summer we bring in a manager that everyone can not necessarily jump for joy if it's not Poch, but a manager that we can appreciate and go, okay, I see where you're coming from. Let's start the rebuild, and also bring in some players where we're like, all right, cool, I see where you're coming from. Let's start the rebuild.